The Houston Texans are about to shock the entire NFL, and nobody sees it coming. While every analyst debates whether the Kansas City Chiefs can three-peat or if the Baltimore Ravens finally break through, Houston has quietly assembled the most dangerous roster in the AFC. This isn't the same franchise that was dead in the water just 2 years ago. Something massive has shifted in Houston, and the signs are everywhere if you know where to look. The numbers don't lie, and they tell a story that should terrify every other AFC contender. Back-to-back division championships, playoff victories over teams nobody expected them to beat, a defense that made elite quarterbacks look ordinary. But here's what nobody's talking about. The Texans just made the kind of moves that separate good teams from championship teams. They've added pieces that don't just fill holes, they create matchup nightmares for opposing coordinators. The craziest part is how quiet this transformation has been. No flashy headlines, no primetime coverage, just smart, calculated moves that are flying completely under the radar. But there's one change they made this offseason that could be the difference between another playoff appearance and a deep championship run. The blueprint is right there in front of us, and by the time you see what they've built on offense, you'll understand why Vegas might have gotten the odds completely wrong. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Texans and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 500 likes on this video. The Texans' offense is about to become unrecognizable, and it started with one bold decision that caught everyone off guard. They fired Bobby Slowick, their offensive coordinator who just led them to the playoffs. Most teams would stick with success, but Houston saw what others missed. Slowick's system had hit its ceiling, and championship teams don't settle for good enough. The move sent shockwaves through the organization, but it was the first domino in a complete offensive revolution. Enter Nick Caserio's masterpiece of roster construction. The Texans traded for Christian Kirk, bringing in a veteran receiver who thrives in the slot and creates separation that opposing defenses can't account for. Then came the draft magic. They selected Jaden Higgins and Jalen Nowell, two receivers from Iowa State, who already have built-in chemistry from dominating college football together. Higgins pulled in 87 catches for 1,183 yards in his final college season, while Nowell racked up 1,194 receiving yards with game-breaking speed that takes the top off any defense. CJ Stroud just completed one of the most impressive sophomore seasons in NFL history, and somehow people are calling it a disappointment. The media created this false narrative about a sophomore slump, but the reality is absolutely mind-blowing when you dig into what actually happened. Stroud threw for solid numbers while getting absolutely destroyed behind one of the worst offensive lines in football. He absorbed 52 sacks last season and still managed to win the division and lead his team to the playoffs. That's not regression. That's elite quarterback play under impossible circumstances. What separates Stroud from every other young quarterback is his supernatural ability to process information under pressure. When blitzes come, he finds the open receiver. When pocket collapses happen, he steps up and delivers perfect strikes downfield. His accuracy on intermediate routes is already at an elite level, and his anticipation throws remind you of veteran quarterbacks with 10 years of experience. The kid sees the field like he's been playing professional football his entire life, and that's not something you can teach. Here's the scary part for the rest of the AFC. Stroud accomplished all of this success while playing behind subpar protection, and with receivers dropping balls in crucial moments. His tight end Dalton Schultz had multiple drops that killed drives, yet Stroud never lost confidence in his teammates. Now imagine what happens when you give this quarterback proper pass protection and surround him with reliable weapons who can actually catch the football. The transformation is about to be absolutely terrifying for opposing defenses, because fixing the foundation around an elite quarterback changes everything about what an offense can accomplish. The Houston Texans made the most controversial move of their offseason, and it might be pure genius disguised as insanity. They traded away Laramie Tunsil, their best offensive lineman, to the Washington Commanders for a second-round pick. Fans lost their minds. Analysts called it a mistake, but general manager Nick Caserio saw the bigger picture. Tunsil was eating up massive salary cap space and had developed a penalty problem that was killing drives at the worst possible moments. Sometimes you have to sacrifice good to achieve greatness. The replacement plan is already paying dividends in ways nobody expected. Cam Robinson brings veteran leadership and playoff experience from his time in Jacksonville, while rookie Ariante Ursary from Minnesota has shown incredible technique for someone just learning professional football. Titus Howard moved from tackle to guard, a position that maximizes his athletic ability and gives the Texans their most versatile interior lineman. Meanwhile, Laken Tomlinson anchors the left guard spot with the kind of consistency that championship offensive lines are built around. The genius of this reconstruction goes beyond just individual talent upgrades. This offensive line group is younger, hungrier, and built specifically to complement Stroud's playing style. Robinson understands how to handle speed rushers on the edge. Harris has the footwork to handle interior pressure. Howard brings the power to create running lanes for their explosive backfield. When you combine veteran knowledge with young athleticism, you get the kind of offensive line chemistry that can carry teams deep into January. The protection is about to become the catalyst that unleashes everything else this offense is capable of achieving. DeMeco Ryans has built the most complete defense in the AFC, and opposing offensive coordinators are running out of places to attack. This isn't just about having good players. This is about having the perfect blend of speed, power, and intelligence at every single level. Will Anderson Jr. is entering his second season with the kind of pass rush development that puts him in the same conversation as Micah Parsons and TJ Watt. His 11 sacks as a rookie were just the beginning, because his pressure rate tells the real story of a defender who lives in opposing backfields. The secondary transformation has been absolutely ridiculous to watch unfold. Derek Stingley Jr. recorded 18 pass deflections last season, which was the second most in the entire NFL, yet somehow he still doesn't get mentioned with the elite cornerbacks. Kamari Lassiter proved that he can dominate immediately when they're properly coached, grabbing 3 interceptions and 10 pass deflections while covering opposing teams' number 2 receivers. These aren't just good numbers. These are shutdown corner statistics that make offensive coordinators change their entire game plans. The final piece of this defensive puzzle just arrived, and it's the addition that turns a great unit into a historically dominant one. CJ Gardner-Johnson brings 6 interceptions and 12 pass deflections from last season, plus the kind of veteran leadership that championship defenses require. When you pair him with Kalen Bullock, who already showed 5 interceptions and 11 pass deflections as a rookie, you're looking at a safety tandem that can completely eliminate the middle of the field. Quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are about to find out that there's nowhere safe to throw against this secondary, because every level of this defense can create turnovers and change games in an instant. The Texans' depth chart reveals something that separates championship contenders from pretenders, and it's hidden in the battles happening at positions most fans never think about. Xavier Hutchinson has been fighting for his roster spot every single offseason, yet he keeps making the team because of his special teams impact and clutch performances when called upon. Meanwhile, the tight end room has turned into an absolute war between Cade Stover and Brevin Jordan, with both players showing skills that would make them starters on half the teams in the league. What makes this roster construction truly special is how every position group has legitimate competition, pushing the starters to their absolute best. Justin Watson and John Mechie are battling for the final receiver spots, creating the kind of training camp intensity that breeds playoff toughness. The defensive tackle rotation features Tim Settle and Mario Edwards Jr. competing for snaps, which means fresh legs and maximum effort every single down. Even the return game has become a showcase of talent, with Braxton Berrios and Jalen Noel both capable of taking any punt or kickoff to the house. The real championship indicator is what's happening with their rookies and how quickly they're contributing to winning football. Woody Marks has shown the kind of explosive running ability that can change games when Joe Mixon needs a breather. Blake Fisher is developing into the kind of offensive line depth that keeps drives alive when injuries happen. These aren't just roster fillers waiting for their chance. These are legitimate contributors who can step up in playoff moments and deliver the kind of performances that championship runs are built on. The AFC South is about to witness something unprecedented as the Houston Texans prepare for their clearest path to a 3rd consecutive division title, while the Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Tennessee Titans struggle with quarterback inconsistency, roster rebuilding, and complete reconstruction respectively. Houston has already proven they can compete with the AFC's elite powers like Kansas City and Baltimore, taking both teams to their limits, while their defense forced Justin Herbert into 4 interceptions during a playoff-ending performance against the Chargers. What separates this year from previous playoff runs is their matured young core that has learned how to finish games, combined with the experience to win in January and the foundational fixes that previously cost them in crucial moments against elite competition, making their path through the AFC playoffs more achievable than ever before. Vegas has the Texans listed as long shots for the Super Bowl, which represents the best value bet in professional sports right now. Remember this video when Houston is hosting AFC Championship games and making their Super Bowl run, because the signs were all there for anyone paying attention. The question isn't whether the Texans can win at all, the question is whether you saw it coming before everyone else jumped on the bandwagon. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let me know if you think I'm crazy for this prediction. or if Houston is your sleeper pick to shock the entire NFL world this season.